What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. In this one, it's the watch list for Game Week 34. So some of the players that I'm keeping my eye on over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, there ain't too many weeks left, right? So if they're coming in, they've got to come in soon. And we are starting off with a double game week for Chelsea as well. So I'm going to talk through the players that I'm looking at for that. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be looking for a wildcard video. Do not panic. It's probably going to come either tonight, but more likely just going to be tomorrow's video. So it's going to happen. It's just not today, okay? It's fine. It will come this week. There's plenty of time until the deadline. So Chelsea players, I do need to bring an extra one in. Right now in my team, obviously this watch list is all based on my team. I've only got Reece James. I don't have any other Chelsea players in there. I've got Fernandes, but I've got to be honest, at this point, I think I'm going to probably sell Fernandes, which is why a Chelsea attacker is quite high on my list. And I wanted to talk about him because a lot of you will be looking between Havertz and Mason Mount, maybe Werner as well. Now, I've been quite high on Mason Mount, and I still think he's an excellent pick. And to be honest, he could be a better pick than Kai Havertz as well. I think if you want to go for Mount, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The only reason that I'm starting to look at Havertz is I think it'll be a bit of a bigger differential. I think more people are likely to go to Mason Mount. Obviously, there's only a few weeks left now to get extra points to try and climb the ranks. But also, I'm a bit of a numbers man. And if you look at the expected goals and expected assists of Mount and Havertz over this season, I've been looking over it over the last few weeks, and Mount has been ahead, right? So that's why it's one of the reasons why I've preferred him. And I do think minutes-wise, Mount is probably slightly better, and I still think that's probably true. But recently, Havertz has been catching up, and their expected goal involvement, which is expected goals plus expected assists, is now very similar, but Havertz is much more skewed towards goals, and we know that goals are obviously worth more points. So that's why I'm kind of taking a look at him. 8% ownership overall. Obviously, that's probably going to be a bit higher, like top 10k, top 100k. But I really like the look of him. And when he's played, he scores goals. And I think right now, him, Mount and Werner is the preferred front three. Now, they were playing with kind of Werner on the left, Mount on the right, and Havertz through the middle. Last few games, they have changed to kind of Mount behind the two of them. Whether or not that makes Havertz a better or a worse option, I think it's just too early to tell. I think we could take away that the last couple of games, maybe he's not been as threatening, but there could have been loads of reasons for that. I don't want to now write him off as a pick just because the formation is slightly changing. I still think he's great. And to be honest, there is actually a scenario where I just get both, Havertz and Mount, because I can't pick between the two. The reason I'm looking at that, I want to talk about the fixtures. Now, I'm free hitting almost certainly in Game Week 37. Right? I'll hold the right to change that to Game Week 36, but I think I'm going to go 37. So they got the double this week. I think Everton away is not a bad fixture for goals as well. They've got the double game week, Wolves at home, Leeds away. Now, the one problem with that is that Leeds fixture is just before the FA Cup final, which they're obviously now in against Liverpool. So there's probably going to be rotation Leeds away. The thing is, I just think Havertz could get rotated, Mount could get rotated, Werner could get rotated, Reece James could get rotated. I don't know if it's too much need to worry about it. It's going to happen. And I think because you get the extra fixture this week, if you do lose something in Game Week 36, it's not necessarily the end of the world. And also, another thing I've thought about, I'm thinking about structure and stuff like that for my team. If I have got Havertz and Mount, and we get into a situation where Man City end up doubling in Game Week 36, and it doesn't look like they're going to rotate as much because they're not in the FA Cup final. Obviously, they've still got Champions League to play. Then switching one of Mount or Havertz, whoever seems the least effective at that point, could then go to Foden. So they almost keep that slot open as well. Leicester at home doesn't matter because I'd be free hitting, so I can either keep them if I want or get rid of them. But I've also got half an eye on that Watford at home game in Game Week 38. Because at that point, the FA Cup final's done. They've then played Leicester. As long as Mount and Havertz are fit, you'd expect them to start. Because, again, they do look like first choice right now. And Watford at home could be a big differential. And on the last day of the season, Salah's got Wolves at home. But Spurs have got Norwich away. And Chelsea have got Watford at home. And if I'm, let's say I'm like 12, 13k and I want to go a bit different, then a Chelsea attacker might be the way to do it. We've just seen them, okay, they had a bad result against Brentford, but they've just smashed 6 goals against Southampton. They could absolutely do that against Watford, especially if Watford are relegated as well. So last home game of the season. So although there's a bit of concern with Game Week 36, I do think that Watford game and the double game week this week just makes me want to get at least one attacker in. And right now I'm kind of slightly favouring Havertz, but I do think there's a chance that I just go for both of them. Possibly don't even get Son back and just go without him for the rest of the season. But I'll talk about that more in the team selection. So I really like the look of Havertz. If you want to go for him over Mount, I don't think there's any issue with that. Obviously keep an eye on the Arsenal game in Game Week 33, because we get to watch that before we have to pick our players for the Game Week 34 deadline. And if they get rested or if they come off early again like they did in the FA Cup, then they look pretty good to start that West Ham game. I'd expect them to start the Man United game. The only thing with Havertz is obviously Lukaku. Lukaku could play at some point. Werner's got competition, probably more from Pulisic potentially, and Mason Mount more from Ziyech, especially when they were playing with like a front three, like a left, middle, and right. With this new one where Mount's in behind, maybe it's slightly less susceptible to rotation, but I do think it's going to happen, right? With the FA Cup, it's probably going to happen in 36. Outside of that, I think most of these players, Havertz and Mount, are just going to continue playing and get decent minutes. So happy to say that this video has been sponsored by Skillshare. If you've not already heard about them, it's an online learning community where you can improve your skills. That could be for your career, a new career, or even just a hobby that you want to do on the side. For example, you're watching a YouTube video. If you want to learn more about film and video, there's a category for that, as well as loads of other stuff. And if you click into film and video, there is then loads of different courses depending on what kind of skills you want to learn. The first 1,000 people to use code Let's Talk FPL will get a 1-month free trial. There's a link in the description below. One of the great things about the site is it's completely ad-free, and there's new premium classes added every single week. So there's always something new to learn. I'm going to play this video in the background. I'm someone that likes learning from videos, so this is kind of perfect for me. This is Thomas Frank, Mastering Productivity, and you can see on the right there's loads of different chapters, and you can take them as quickly or as slowly as you want to. The reason that I picked this is, as much as I've been doing YouTube for a very long time, I still don't have great processes in place to kind of use my time more efficiently. So one thing I've done from this is actually created a to-do list. Now, I don't have a fancy to-do list software or anything like that. I'm just basically using a Google Doc, but it's splitting things into kind of importance. So stuff that has to be done today, i.e. record this video, this integration to make sure that it goes out in time. There's stuff that I need to do by the end of the week, and then there's stuff I need to do that's just by next season. So there's not a rush to do it, but I need to make sure I can do it, and I look at this every single morning and then start to move stuff up the list as I want to do it a bit quicker. So if you want to check out Skillshare, there is a link in the description. The first 1,000 people to use the code Let's Talk FPL get a 1-month free trial. Go and learn something now. So it wasn't too long ago that any FPL manager looking to bring in Pookie was kind of laughed at, but now I think the things have changed, right? He continues to score goals, he continues to get assists, and he's ticking over for a fairly decent price of 5.9 million. There's not too many other strikers I think people are looking at. João Pedro, Dennis obviously at Watford as well, but if I was going to bring one in, it would probably be Pookie. I know that, we can create a narrative around kind of teams in the relegation. They're really just going to go for it. They're going to have a lot of fight. I always think, well, they're in a relegation zone for a reason, right? They're not very good. But possibly under Dean Smith, they have maybe, I don't know, a little bit more belief, been a little bit better. And I think they will continue to kind of fight as long as they can. And really, I only need Pookie up until Game Week 36. Because again, I'm probably free hitting in 37. And I'll probably play someone else in Game Week 38. Possibly even make a transfer to Tony. But I do like the look of Pookie because he's very cheap, and I think at that price, like I said, there's not too many other options. And in Game Week 36, for anybody that's not on a kind of Kane single game week striker strategy, there's not too many forwards that double that week that I think are better than Pookie. So you got kind of Calvert-Lewin, possibly Richarlison, probably the better option now because he's on penalties. Some of you will go to Werner, I'm sure, right? Because obviously he looks pretty decent at the moment, and maybe it's easier to go from kind of Lacazette to Werner and just hold him for the Game Week 36 double. Hope he plays twice. Outside of that, though, if Vardy's back fit, he could be an option. Iheanacho, but he could share minutes with Daka, especially because the first game in Game Week 36 is just after Leicester's semi-finals. We're probably going to see a bit of rotation like we did for the first game in Game Week 33. So ultimately, even if Lacazette was back, I don't really want him. I think Pookie is the best option for Game Week 36. I think that's all there is to it. I know his expected goals per 90 are low. 0.22 is pretty poor for a forward. And I think if you buy a Norwich striker, you shouldn't get your hopes up too much. But all they need is a dodgy penalty along the way, and that's just some free extra points. So this really is not like an exciting move. It's not someone that I think you should be ripping up your teams to get in. It's just a means to an end, right? You need someone for Game Week 36. For the price, he's definitely the best option if you're not on the kind of Kane strategy and you want to put your money in midfield or defence, which is what I'm doing. And he's going to start both games. He's probably going to play 90 minutes in both games, and that's all there is to it. So Pookie's coming in maybe this week, if not over the next couple of weeks, for that double in 36. So we talked about a midfielder, then a forward. Let's go to defence, because I am going to have to bring someone in soon. I keep talking about going to 4-5-1, so at some point I need another big hitting defender in my team. Now, if I just quickly take you through this week, you know, if I'm looking to get another 1 or 2 Chelsea players in, I probably don't need to go out of my way to take additional hits just to bench Weghorst or Wood. This week, they're probably okay. Wood against Norwich, Weghorst against Wolves. And the fact that Weghorst kept his place, you know, even without the goal, I was just happy to see him start. And the fact that he's got his goal, hopefully it means he keeps on starting. So he's not someone to worry about. So this week, I don't necessarily need to worry. If Gerrard says that Luca Dean is fit, because obviously we didn't have a press conference last week, then maybe he could be played in game week 35 against Norwich. And obviously he does double in 36 as well. But realistically, I don't want to be messing around with Luca Dean. I want a big hitting defender in. Now, if all minutes were equal, Cancelo, Trent and James are probably the best 3 defenders. So it's about adding an additional one. And it also comes from one of those 3 teams, right? So you've got Laporte to go alongside Cancelo. You've got Robertson to go alongside Trent. Or you go for Alonso or maybe Rudiger alongside James. And when I read those names out, I just think Robertson's the one if the money is there. And the money is there if I go without Son or Kane. Now, I'll talk a bit more about why I might do that in the team selection video. Don't panic. I may get Son back. You know, I might just keep that Spurs player in there. But I really like the look of Robertson. I think with him, you just know what you're going to get. I don't think there's too much rotation concerns with Laporte or Rudiger, to be honest. Even with Diaz back, I think Laporte has been pretty nailed for most of this season. Alonso, I do have a few more concerns. Alonso's the more interesting pick for sure, but I don't know how often he could get benched. And I know that Liverpool have got Tsimikas, but I just think that with their Champions League draw, I don't think they're going to go and completely overrun Villarreal, and Villarreal will probably line up with kind of a bit of a low block, try and get them on the counter. But if they could do what they did against Benfica, who knows? Will Klopp maybe rest players in the second leg of a Champions League semi-final? It seems a bit more unlikely than doing it in the quarter-final, but you never know, right? And if they are playing against a kind of low block, then I don't know, do you expend as much energy? What I'm trying to say is I just don't see Robertson getting rotated that much. I know Tsimikas is there. I know Tsimikas is more than capable. But if Klopp can, he's always going to play Robertson, right? We know that he's the better option. And I just look at those fixtures and I just don't really see where he's going to get rotated that much. It is worth noting that, like Chelsea, that second game week 36 fixture, Villa away, is before the FA Cup final. But you could just see him starting that. And again, in game week 37, I'm free hitting anyway. And then to get him back, Wolves at home, if the league is still open, that's a pretty good fixture for Liverpool. And we know how attacking he is as well. So if the money is there, he is my preferred option. I think if I wasn't going there, I'd probably just bring a Chelsea defender in because they've got that extra fixture this week. But I think Robertson's the one. I think even with one less fixture than Chelsea, I think there is probably slightly less concerns over minutes than like with an Alonso. And attacking-wise, he's just as good, if not better, than the other options as well. So he is kind of the one that I would really like if the money is there. Because like I said, 4-5-1, the double game week in 36 looks pretty damn good. And honestly, I just don't see a better third Liverpool player. Like, I just think all the attackers, apart from Salah, are just susceptible to a bit of rotation. Even Salah, maybe, to a certain extent. I just don't see that as much with Robertson. So he is the one I'd really like. Let's see if it happens. Let's see when it happens as well. If you enjoyed that video, please do give it a like. Let me know below who is on your watch list. If you haven't already, I know we're near the end of the season, but do consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything to do, and obviously there'll be videos all next season as well. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you again tomorrow. Wildcard videos coming. Don't forget to check out Skillshare as well. Link in the description below. I'll catch you again soon.